Mr. Vance, thank you so much for being here today. I greatly appreciate your time. I'm super excited to talk to you. For those who haven't had the pleasure of meeting you at an expo or EP or a training or all the 100 other things you do, kind of share with everyone your name and what your role is at CertainPath.
Thanks, Bob. Man, it's so great to be on here with you. My name is Chris Vance. I wear a few hats around here at CertainPath. I'm one of the coaching team managers, as well as been doing some coaching for HVAC and plumbing now for about 5 years. But also for the last 5 years, I've had the privilege to be the marketing coach for CertainPath. So I can have conversations with all of our trades and all of our members. So it's been a great ride.
Absolutely. And marketing is a hot topic these days, and that's why we're talking it. I feel like, there's a share of folks out there in our space struggling to find leads, and I'm hoping that we're going to cover some big topics. And by the end of the show, people will have a couple things they can do to improve their marketing, a few things they need to start avoiding, and we're going to talk a little shoulder season too and some future trends, because I think by the time this show launches, we'll be in that or near that shoulder season time. So, and we'll also talk about just about every other medium that I can think of when it comes to marketing. So, before we get into that, let's dig into you a little bit, because for people that don't know your background, how long have you been at CertainPath?
I've been here for coming up on 5 years now. It's hard to believe.
Man. Yeah.
Feels like yesterday and another life ago. But yeah, I've been around here for 5 years. So I've seen a lot of amazing members come in and grow and just really put things in action and see it really impact their business, impact their lives, which was one of the real catalysts of why I left owning my own agency and having my own deal for 10 years before I came over here, where I typically worked with everyone from small business all the way to enterprise accounts. And it just turned out that my favorite thing was to be able to have an impact. I mean, I could go into a boardroom and sit with a bunch of creatives with their Apple MacBooks all over the place and have some amazing content creation sessions for these national campaigns. But at the end of the meeting, they just kind of shut it down, went about their job. But being able to sit across from a small business owner and hear the story of how they became and come up with something that actually communicated that story in a way that helped them grow their business, that was having an impact. And coming to CertainPath has allowed me the opportunity to do that at scale now for 5 years. And so it's just huge blessing in my life.
We get a lot of members that watch and listen to the audio podcast, and know what we are, but we get a ton more that have no idea what we are. Talk about, what is your role as a coach? So what are you doing every day? How are you helping folks every day?
Well, we have at CertainPath, we have a business model for contractors that is just really how to run your business, how to set it up, run it by the numbers, how to know what levers to pull that are going to really make an impact on your growth and the strategies that you need to impact not only your bottom line, but also the lives of your customers, your team, and your family. So day to day from a coaching standpoint is having those calls with our members to really talk with them about where they are in their business, identify what their current reality is, how to implement this model in such a way that starts to begin moving that needle forward. And then, once we get up and going, just really keeping that ball rolling and kind of being that third eye for them to help them see what they can't see when they're in the weeds. Yeah,
for sure. Try and keep challenging them, get a little bit better. Let's push it a little bit further, because it never stops. Doesn't matter if you're a $500 million business with a 25% EBITDA. There's always something that you can want to get better, right?
100%. There's always something.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited to talk marketing. It's that was my background way back when, before I've been in this for forever. But I always think it's important when we're talking marketing to begin with brand. And and you probably you talk to people more than I do, day in and day out. But I feel like the companies, I just had a meeting yesterday with a member that we all know and love that has been with us forever and small roofing company, but still actually, small company, but large roofing company, and they're doing well. They've got leads. They're doing great. And they were one of the companies that I've known forever that is invested in their brand, and everybody knows them. And I feel like anyone that is doing well with business, maybe they don't have quite as much as they did when COVID was going crazy, but they've got leads, their people are busy, and they're making money. So I preface this conversation with brand because I want people to understand how important it is and how it can start early on. Even if you're a 2-truck operation, you can work on your brand. So what are some cost-effective strategies for contractors, for members that initially want to establish their brand? Like you guys talk about at EP, like image, just some basic things like that.
Yeah. It really does start off with how you're presenting yourself to your customer base. How are you perceived out in your service areas? And, it can be as simple as a clean truck and having technicians that come into your home that are dressed professionally, that are not shirt tail hanging out and smoke breath and just all of the things that stereotypically in the past, when people think of getting a contractor to their house, that you're walking into what is likely this person's largest investment, about to have them ask them to spend money on expenses that they weren't expecting that day. And so the way that you present yourself to the home is one of the first key steps to getting over that hurdle. And then from a branding standpoint, getting started there, nothing beats getting out and being the ambassador of your own brand in the community. So getting out and building those relationships, whether it's networking, finding a way to get your brand in front of your potential market as often as possible in a short period of time, is what it's all about, of getting started there.
Yeah, for sure. I have had some work done at the house here recently, and it's with handymen, and we don't work with them. And so I can, and I'm just amazed at, just nice pants, a nice tucked in shirt. These guys roll in. And, the other thing I want to bring up, they leave trash. Like, I'm installing something for you, but I leave the trash just in the corner of the room. It's those little things, that make a big difference. Another example I just thought of, we have a friend, an equal friend that had a member come over, and a technician, I should say, and it was a warm day. He's in a hot climate, and the technician took his shirt off, and he was smoking a cigarette. And I know this company knows better. And so it's one of those things where with brand, even if you're a $20 million business, you can always be working on reminding your people how much that image is so important, that it reflects on who you are and what that company is. So, and then of course you said trucks. I mean, I know we don't want to tell people that are struggling to start investing in truck wraps right away, but maybe that's a good question. Right. When do you talk to folks about, hey, okay, you're in a good enough position where let's sync, that one good truck you have, let's wrap it, let's work on the next. Yep. What do you typically tell folks?
Yeah, once they've gotten beyond, once they're generating some calls, they're actually doing a lot of the do-it-yourself kind of things that they've got going on, and they're generating enough calls to begin generating some profit, so that they have enough in their budget set aside, so that a portion, the recommended portion of that budget that goes toward branding is going to cover getting a truck wrapped. I think that the sooner the better, because it is one of having that rolling billboard going through your service area is a great way to just instill brand into the minds of your potential customers.
Absolutely.
And even, there's also the step up. We definitely, one of the things that we talk about a lot is operational excellence. So you start where you start, right? So having letters and lettering it up really nice, clean, starting your image there is a great low-cost way to begin making that step. Then even maybe wrapping a partial part of the truck before, if you can't go all the way to the full wrap. set goals and let's plan from a financial standpoint in your budget. Let's hit these goals, and along the way, we're going to get you to where you have that nice wrapped truck where you can be cruising around in the neighborhood and drawing those eyes.
Yeah. And another thing that popped in me, because I remember the old binders we used to hand out to folks when they joined, and now it's all in the hub and digitalized. But and I can remember how when talking about image and brand, your internal brand, and then don't let your shop look like a pigsty. Make sure it's clean, because how can you expect your people to look nice and act professionally if they go to a shop? And I don't care if it's in your garage, right? For the small guys, just getting started. It starts with the little details, and those little details add up. So I think that's another thing that, a lot of times, I don't have time to sweep up, or it makes a big difference, don't you think?
It all starts right here. It all starts with the leadership, and you touch on mindset. Even if you're still the guy in the garage doing it yourself, you're building it like it's $1 billion already. In your mind, you have to be thinking ahead. You have to be thinking of where you want to be, not just looking at what's around you. And if you have that mindset where you're seeing what you can be and start operating from that mindset today, that's where it starts to build from and gives you the real launching pad that you can have.
Support for this podcast comes from Moen. As the #1 faucet brand in North America, Moen offers a diverse selection of thoughtfully designed kitchen, bath, and smart water security products, each delivering the best possible combination of meaningful innovation, useful features, and lasting value. Moen strives to be the most durable, reliable, and easy-to-install brand of faucets. Moen leans on pros to help continue to drive consumer innovation and influence Moen's engagement with consumers in a meaningful way. For more information, visit plumber.moen.com. Support for this podcast comes from HD Supply. At HD Supply, our job is helping you do yours. We are uniquely positioned to help drive your business through unrivaled access to professional-grade plumbing, electrical, and HVAC products and innovative business solutions such as our Stockwise inventory management program, fully customizable to meet your needs and improve productivity. Our national network of distribution centers and more than 2,200 store locations nationwide provide a national reach with a local focus, providing unmatched convenience and product availability. We power pros to do more.
Yeah, definitely. The brand, I think, is figuring that out right away. As we said, from early stages, you don't have to have a lot of money to start positioning yourself with a certain way. But the next thing I think is just as important, and you touched on it, and how we grow our brand is budget, marketing budget, allocating budget. What do you, we'll give a little cookie away to folks who aren't members. What do we typically tell people? What percentage of revenue should contractors, allocate for their marketing efforts?
Ideally, what you want to see is around 10% of your projected revenue is going to be going toward marketing. For electricians, that's going to be a bit higher, usually around 14%. But you really want to carve out enough budget so that you can invest to become the growth that you want to see.
Absolutely. Now, how does that change much as a business scale, or do you always try to tell people to stay in those ranges?
That's really the growth numbers that we want to see. And then depending on how what your business goals and how they shift according to time, that percentage can go up or down a little bit. If you're in more of aggressive growth mode, you might tack another % or two on, but it's an informed business decision. Or if you are more in kind of hit where I want to hit, but I don't want to lose anything, then that percentage may trend down a little bit. Or if you're like several of our members that I've talked to lately that are just like the ones that you were mentioning earlier, who got on the bandwagon as soon as we started preaching to them years ago of building their brand and making that investment, that they don't have to invest as much in the call to action, pay-per-click, all of these things that take up so much of your budget, because they built such a strong brand and presence in their community. People know them. So what little elements, just the little campaigns they do have an outsized reaction or return based on just the groundwork that they did early.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. Branding is like the flamethrower to whatever you do in terms of marketing that's direct call to action type stuff, because because people know you, you're not a stranger, and there's that familiarity breeds some kind of comfort. And the other thing I wanted to follow up what you said was great is, at no point are we ever going to tell anyone to spend nothing, right? You can't drop it down to 1 or 2% because the people I know, and maybe your experience has been this, that have spent money on branding, but also continue to spend money, even in the heydays, and I got more calls than I know what to do with a couple years ago. They're the ones that are busy now because they continue to invest. They didn't turn it off. So I think that, don't you agree? I think that's just so important.
Absolutely, because if you think about it, there's a degree of mind share that's available in your service area, and so what your marketing is to take up as big a piece of that percent of mind share that you can. And if you drop out of that race, there's unless you're the only contractor in your area. And I ask every EP if they have anybody that's the only contractor in their area. Haven't found one yet. So there's always going to be somebody going after that mind share. And, one of the things that we learned, especially during COVID, is the people that pulled out, that mind share was still available. So the savvy and a lot of our most successful members went in there and upped their marketing budget from an awareness standpoint and grabbed that mind share. And when you come back in, the mind share doesn't automatically return to you because it used to be there.
That's right.
It's gone. So that's the opportunity for, in times of plenty, is branding and building that and taking that mind share. But if you pull out of it, you have to fight to get it back, which is why we never say go to 0%, because there's always somebody that's going to be investing to try to take that hard-earned market share that you've already built for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the small guy, right? I struggled. I've been going to all the local, business B&I meetings and all the local community stuff, and I'm hustling, and I've grown to 3 trucks, and I've wrapped them, and I'm profitable, and I've got the budget ready to set aside, my 10%. How do you guide people into determining what mediums they should go into next as a small business?
First, we want to really define where is their profitable areas, so that we're, especially like here in the DFW area, if I'm starting out, I've got 2 or 3 trucks. I'm not going to try to blanket the entire DFW area. I would never have the budget and might as well just dump my money out the window. But if I have a defined small area where I've been doing calls, if you've built to 2 or 3 trucks, where your areas are, where your most profitable calls come from. People are happy to buy on value and not just kick the tires. And so you focus your area, your marketing into those areas. So once you've defined your area and who your customer is, then we want to make sure that your online presence is in place, because we know right now that as of today, that last mile, 91% of the time that if you ask people how they heard from you, they're going to say Google. So we got to make sure that you get found, right?
Yeah.
And so you need a professional website in place. You need your Google business platform really optimized and generating and asking for 5-star reviews at every call you go on, so that you're generating that activity and demonstrating to Google that you're servicing their customers well, and they're gonna reward that with traffic. So then we have the online presence, at least organically, what you can do yourself, get that set up and kind of optimize to a degree there. And then layering on top of that is with some postcard drops on a regular basis, hitting those same areas. And, depending on your budget, you can range from every door direct mail at the post office, which is the third of the cost of postage, to actually working with one of our partners in the partner network to identify specific customers that fit your criteria within those routes that you're looking to saturate. But I will say that one of the things that a lot of our smaller contractors, or a lot of smaller contractors that are just starting out, that there's this myth that there is one thing that works in marketing, and it's a yes and. So yes, brand is critical. Yes, online presence is critical. Yes, going out to the BNI groups or the chamber events and building those relationships, showing up at the football games with branded water or foam fingers, however you can get your brand in front of your market in that defined area is going, all of that working together is what's going to drive the performance of your marketing.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think that's, and it's true. I mean, people think marketing, they just think of, we've got PPC, maybe some SEO, and then do TV, or, we're going to talk about all these mediums, but there's so much you can do in this finite area, which is really all you want to do anyways, because you don't want to be in a truck for 45 minutes not making money, right? Yeah. But there's the football games, there's a community, and oddly enough, that roofing company I was talking about, everyone knows them because they sponsor every little league team, they sponsor every festival, they have a truck present, and guess what? They have business and are growing. They're looking at their third location. Okay. So yeah, we've talked about now where we owned our little fiefdom, right? So as I go from say a $2 to $3 million business, and I want to get to be a $10 million business, and then I want to be a $20 million business. There's all these tiers that we know exist in our space. What are some of the, and we're going to get to all these mediums specifically, but like how do I think about what's best to layer next?
So as your budget increases, it just opens up more doors of opportunity, right? And so you're going to engage an agency, and one of the things that I would recommend, there's a lot that you can do on the front end on your own that you don't need to necessarily go out and hire an agency for. Once you have an optimized website up, there's a lot of things that you can do to optimize your Google business platform and set up local service ads, get Google guaranteed. There's a lot of that you can do on your own that you don't necessarily need an agency to manage for you. Where I've seen actually several years ago, one of the members came up to me at an expo, and we had a call early on, and he knew he was upfront with the fact that he was a more difficult sell on what he should be doing. And so he was telling me all about running his own pay-per-click campaign and how great it was going to be. And I attempted several times to really dissuade him from doing that, because I said, you're a genius at electrical.
Yep.
There are geniuses that pay per click, and that's not where your normal head is. I would stick to electrical and have somebody else manage that for you. Right. But apparently I didn't push that hard enough for him. So he cornered me at an expo. He's like, I've got a bone to pick with you. If you'd have just really whacked me on the back of the head and said, don't be an idiot, you would have saved me $150,000.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
of course it's your fault. No, that's
exactly right.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story is, when you start getting to the area, to the point where it is time to start investing in some pay-per-click and some paid ad strategies, there are people that spend their entire days to know the mind of Google. And so you're going to increase your search engine optimization. You're going to increase your pay-per-click levels and really have some strategic campaigns that are building there that start to generate leads throughout that. And as your budget grows, it's incredible. The time in marketing that we're in right now is just, it's really amazing, the change that is coming and the quickness that it's coming. But, one of the biggest changes over the last, say, 3-4 years has been really the adoption of over-the-top marketing or streaming marketing outlets, where you take traditional radio or traditional broadcast television and you bring it into the digital cloud, because most people have cut the cord at this point, and you're able to deliver television commercials, radio ads not just across a broad service area that you might not want to service the entire area. You may just want your fiefdom. You can get targeted there now to only show your commercials or have your ads play specifically to the audience that you want to hear. And so that's a huge game changer, and it's made it more cost effective so that you can start getting into that game a little earlier than where it used to be, because radio and television traditional is quite a budget that you need to have for that.
Yeah, and then you
very
can,
effective.
Sure. Yeah, but the problem is if you're in DFW and you start broadcasting on NBC Morning News, you're going to have people calling you from an hour each direction from where you are, and you're going to go out of business just from paying gasoline. So, let's talk OTT a little bit, just because it's for a lot of people out, and they know what it is. They've experienced it if you're on YouTube or whatever, or Pandora. How do you get started into that stuff? Like, what are some best practices that we can help people understand how to venture into it and how to do it well?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that you want to do is find a partner that will place the media for you. You don't want to be going directly to the television station or directly to the radio stations, because a lot of them will sell you that digital ad space. But we've got there's lots of different partners out there that you can connect with. We've got a partner in our network, iHeartMedia, where you can connect with them. They'll do an analysis of your service area and present you with here's where you should be showing your commercials. Here's where would be the effective areas for radio, and give you the outlets that, based on the persona that you're wanting to connect with, these are the outlets that you should connect with. And then, they can work with you on the creative as well.
Yeah. When you're looking at it, and you're right. I mean, the world of marketing has changed so much since we got started, 20 some odd years ago. Back, like, when I started with CertainPath, we weren't CertainPath, but it was like Yellow Page ads. You had a really good Yellow Page ad, you're going to get calls. But now it's like you've got this digital component, and you've got PPC, and you've got OTT, and you've got every other letter you want to say, and you need to rely on people, is what I'm getting down to. You need to rely on partners, because it's really impossible, especially if you're trying to grow a business, to focus. You shouldn't be focusing your time on. There's other things that you can be doing. How do you decide who a good partner is, a good agency is? Do you have any kind of rules that people should follow or think about when interviewing these different groups?
Yeah, I always say look for someone that you get a good feel for, who's going to actually be a partner with you. I know that we've all, if you've dealt with a marketing company, you're going to have had those conversations where you sit with someone in the room who is smarter than you, and they are definitely happy to let you know it. And when you ask them marketing questions to try to help educate you and collaborate with them, they deliberately talk about right here above your head. So that you don't ask more questions. So I want to have somebody that's going to meet me where I'm at and say, I want to have the conversation of going, this is what I want to accomplish. I'm trying to accomplish X number of additional calls. I'm wanting to add a truck next year. I'm wanting to add another location. Whatever my goal is to sit down and say, here's how I define success. Now you tell me what I need to be doing, what you can do for me to create that success, and let's collaborate together so that we're setting those expectations that are realistic of how you can help me hold you accountable, because I want to be a good partner to you just as much as I want you to be a good partner to me. Because that's, one of the things I say in EP all the time is you wouldn't hire a technician, even with the best of references, hand them the keys and a stack of invoices and check in with them next year to see how they did.
Right.
But that's how so many people manage their marketing companies.
Yeah.
And so you want to kind of engage them in that front end process so that to understand, do they have a clear strategy for how to accomplish the goals that you're working toward? And can they explain it in such a way that you get it and help you understand so that you're on the same page, so that you can have effective communication at regular intervals throughout the engagement to see, here's the performance we're hitting, here's the strategy that we had, and here's the return on your investment. And, a marketing company is a marketing company. It is, as strategic as we can get. There's still going to be those things that just kind of hit us upside the head from nowhere and go, I have no idea what happened this month. Google all of a sudden changes their algorithm, and we've got to refigure out how to get back to the top. So I expect those things if I'm buying media or marketing services, I just want the answer to be, here's what happened, here's how we have responded to it, and here's our strategy to keep things on track. If I know that they're doing those things, that's a great partner. If I get excuses and black boxes and you don't understand, I'm probably going to be looking for another partner.
Yeah. How frequently would you recommend people connect with their different agencies they're working with through these different mediums, so that they know you're not just ignoring and then setting it and forgetting it. So how frequently do you recommend touching base with them?
I would want a monthly call myself. It just to even if it's a check-in, some strategies are a longer time horizon, so they might not merit a full monthly call. But especially in your digital areas, your pay-per-click campaigns, your SEO, social media, if you're outsourcing that, you want to be meeting monthly on that, because you want to because that, like I said, is the last mile, and you want that your voice connecting over digital is critical. So making sure that you're in line with the strategy that's happening there, it requires a collaboration.
Absolutely. So when you meet with an agency, what are some numbers? Because I'm sure they will throw all sorts of stuff at you, right? All conversions so what are some numbers you really say, hey, when it comes down to it, I want to see X, Y, and Z. Are there any recommendations you'd have for folks?
Yeah, especially on the digital side, I want to see how much did it cost me to get the phone to ring,
right?
And so I'm looking for the cost per lead, the cost per customer acquisition. And if I'm doing specific campaigns where we're doing a specific promotion and I want to see how this promotion performs, I want to know what the return on that ad spend was. So if I put $10,000 into this promotion, how many times over did I have that money returned? So those are some of the key ones I look for. And, from a broader perspective, if I'm looking at my entire marketing strategy, I want to know how much it's costing me to acquire a new customer. So it might be that, I may be getting a cost per lead of $79 or $109 for my digital standpoint, but when I count everything I'm doing, it's probably costing $250, $300 to acquire a new customer. I want to know what those numbers are so that I'm not overspending.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's good stuff. You mentioned when it comes to digital, you really want to know, so I want to see the numbers. I want to make sure what I'm spending is converting. Are there any other, you talked about making sure to target specific areas. Are there any other best practices on how to best do, all the three letters, LSA, PPC, SEO? Is there anything people should keep in mind when working with a digital partner on how to do that well?
Well, you want to make sure that the keywords that you're targeting are the ones that people are looking for, right? So you want the different services, you want to make sure that you have, from an SEO standpoint, that you have service pages that really describe that out, that are attracting Google to send traffic based on the services that you're offering that are built around those keywords. From local service ads, again, keyword selection, service area where you're serving. Also with local service ads, speed to responding to the lead. Google is looking for the response time. They're looking for the reviews that you're getting, and seeing that you're getting a consistent stream of 5-star reviews and that you're responding to those reviews. All of these things are kind of flowing in together to enhance the performance of that. With pay-per-click, you want to make sure that you're connecting what you're advertising, the page that's landing to, that those are, it seems like it should be common sense, but that those really, the page you see is answering the ad that you put out. And so that quality score that Google is looking for there, that you're delivering on what you're trying to sell and click through, because that gives them a better customer experience for their customers when they know that they've delivered good traffic.
Yeah. Have you found, is there an appropriate or a strong mix in terms of percentage of spend on LSA versus, say, a PPC campaign? Or, does it just really depend market by market? And because, it depends on how many big players you have that want to try to outspend you. So maybe you got to pivot on how do you coach people on that element?
Yeah, it really is a market by market area between LSA and pay-per-click. Local service ads, the Google guaranteed. Some areas you can just kill it as local service ads, and so you would have more of your percentage going toward those, because there's high buyer intent, because that's a cost per lead, not just a cost for clicking to a website. So you would spend more if they're delivering a consistent stream of calls. But really, a lot of areas around the country, LSAs can tend to lag. So pay-per-click would be the better performer there.
Right. Very good. Very good. Obviously, everyone thinks digital, and we've talked about OTT and how to do that appropriately. But there's we know lots of members, especially ones that have some budget, that do, broadcast or production media very well. And in the certain markets, it can make total sense. So when do you tell, maybe larger members, when should they consider investing in a traditional media like, radio or TV in certain markets? When's the right time?
Sure. We kind of go by a simple ratio, where you're looking at your total revenue and you're looking at the population of the area that you're looking to advertise in. So we want to see greater than a 1-to-1 ratio, so that if you're in an area that has 1 million residents and you're $2 million in revenue, that's a 2-to-1 ratio. Then it makes sense to start looking a little deeper of, okay, does radio or television line up for me? And that's where you start looking into, okay, the coverage area from a broadcast perspective, how far of that coverage area does my service area go? Is there a good tight fit there? And so those are kind of some of the things that you want to take a look at, so that, like you said, with the DFW example or the Houston market, you could drive 2 hours and still be in Houston. So
right.
You want to be careful there with your broadcast budget. But yeah, it also is a good, if you could be a $3-4 million company here in the DFW area, but it still probably wouldn't be cost effective to do that kind of broadcast.
For sure.
Right. So we're trying to look at that ratio.
Yeah. There are some other, dangers or things that need to be considered when jumping into it, because we've all seen the small businesses that go, I'm going to try TV. And you're like, oh my God, I would never call you or visit your business, because my God, that's a train wreck. So maybe talk about what are some of the sins or things people need to be mindful of when doing TV or doing radio, and how to not do it.
Have somebody professionally write the script. Don't let the CCR write it, or, you can really tell. One of the things that really drives me crazy, if I'm driving in and I'm listening to the radio, I can tell when somebody is just on their iPhone. It sounds like they're recording the radio spot on their iPhone.
Yeah.
So there's production value that goes into that. And a lot of people think they're funny, but
right.
It's a real art to being funny having that carry across on a commercial from a radio or television spot. So definitely you want to have somebody that's what they do, just like we were talking about with digital, giving you the script. As far as having the owner in the commercial, that's really powerful.
Yes.
It really drives home. People do business with folks they like and trust. And so as an owner, get your face out there, get in front of the people. So those are some of the things that kind of stand out to me.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like in home service, it's first of all, it's expensive, and when you see someone, you feel like you trust them, right? And you're inviting them into your home. I think you just kind of want to start that personal relationship. So, no, I totally agree. But I also think another important thing, and we don't have to dig into it too much, is there's a wrong way to create your strategy in terms of when these ads run, because you don't want your stuff running at 3 a.m. on a Saturday night, whether it's on cable TV or country radio stations. Maybe give people a few tips on what to consider when building that up, because you can get sold those spots very easily.
100%. And that's why, again, you want to have a partner that's going to be buying the spots for you, that's going to be your media buyer, because they'll go in, their whole goal is to be your partner getting your voice out. If you're going directly to a station, then they're looking to fill those spots, and they'll throw all kinds of spots in there and show you a number of how many impressions you're going to have, but all of those impressions might be at 2 or 3 a.m. And that's not going to really help you. So when you have a media buyer partner that's going to help you identify, these are the stations you need to be on, these are the times you're going to be on, that's going to be critical. And, looking at the Monday morning, Tuesday morning, where you're kind of leading the week, they're coming out of the weekend. Those are some of the high value time frames. And again, it's, working with a partner to determine which stations you can be on, because you may love whatever style of music or talk radio that you love. Yeah. You need a partner that's thinking from the standpoint of, this is your ideal person, your ideal avatar that you're going after. They're actually not watching the news channel till all hours of the morning. They may be watching, Hallmark Channel or whatever it is. So kind of knowing what channel to place that on, you want somebody that knows the space.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, that's good. Good insights. I want to talk about a few more traditional ones, because first you brought up early on, and I didn't pursue it because I wanted to talk about it a little later. And that's the idea of doing direct mail. You said postcards early on, and I know I could hear people's eyes roll, that are listening to this. But we know it's still very effective, maybe even more so today when done well, just because there's so much other digital clutter that people are you're still forced to pick up your mail, right? So what are some proven practices for creating and distributing some really good direct mail campaigns? Can you drop some knowledge on us?
Staples is the leading provider in office supplies, offering a vast selection of products and services. Over the last 2 years, Staples has also become one of the largest janitorial suppliers in the U.S. as well. From your everyday business essentials to your office furniture, printing, facilities, and break room, Staples can do it all. Staples offers benefits to help create efficiencies in procurement and consolidate vendors to streamline internal processes. Visit staplesadvantage.com to learn more. And Amana. The Amana brand is a premium brand from Daikin, the world's #1 indoor comfort solutions company with over 20,000 employees in just North America. Originating 8 decades ago, the Amana brand is synonymous with long-lasting premium quality products. Chances are you and generations before you have enjoyed the dependable performance and longevity that the Amana brand continues to deliver. Today, Amana brand systems like the new S-Series side discharge system with inverter technology are manufactured with high-quality materials and innovative technologies. The unique design and excellent energy-efficient performance of the S-Series is a fraction of the size of other Amana brand systems. Because of its slim design, it's easy to transport and install. The Amana brand S-Series system is available in AC, heat pump, and dual fuel configurations. Every Amana brand indoor comfort product is built to our highest standards. The S-Series is no different. Take comfort with its 10-year parts and lifetime unit replacement limited warranties. For more information on the Amana S-Series, follow the Amana brand on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Know that I come from a digital background, so getting me into the direct mail camp was a hard sell. But
right,
seeing it work over the years, I'm a little softer toward it yet now.
Yeah.
But yeah, from a postcard standpoint, you want to think about, there's going to be those times where you're going to generate calls right off of the bat from it. But you want to make an impression when you land in that mailbox, so that between the mailbox and the recycle bin, you have something memorable that you're getting across to get the attention of the homeowner. So your creative is critical on a postcard of what it looks like when it lands there, whether that's an image or whether it's text. We've got a partner that uses a lot of text, and it grabs the attention of the people where it lands. But you want to make that impact. And then from there, whatever the creative way that you're grabbing their attention is, you want to keep it simple.
Yep.
I know you may have 42 different services that you offer, but they will not fit on a postcard. A confused mind doesn't buy. But if you think about an emotion or some sort of benefit that, for instance, indoor air quality can bring to the life of someone that hasn't really thought about that.
Sure.
And so you hit on an emotion with creative and a tagline on the front that captures their attention, that goes, oh my gosh, yes, my house is super dusty. And they flip it over to find out more information about it with an offer and a call to action on there. That's the critical piece of, the critical components of a postcard campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another traditional medium that is still, we know, works well, not everywhere, and you have to have a strategy, but I'm talking about billboards, right? Simple, right? Simple is the best. Maybe share with some things that you would coach people through when looking at billboards, how to do it both creatively and where to position them.
Sure. Yeah. From a creative standpoint, again, if I'm driving, and I drive way too fast, but if I'm driving to the office on 635 here in the DFW area, and I catch a billboard off of the side of the street that is going to catch my eye. So there's going to be an image, there's going to be large lettering that is going to get across some sort of message to me that is going to grab my attention. And then I want your brand to be completely clear. You want that logo, you want that your colors, you want something that is going to drive home that impression in the mind of, oh, that's who that is. So that you want to pull them in, and clear, easy to remember website, maybe a phone number, but think about it. You've got 2 to 3 seconds to do all of that work while somebody's driving by without running them off the road. So having that very, very clear and very quick impact and impression is what you want to. And don't try to make a billboard what it's not. It's not a direct call to action.
Exactly.
Pay-per-click at bottom of the funnel. It's hey, this is who we are. Get to know us before you need us. And so make that impact and look for the most effective, where is going to have the most impact, where it's in your service area, in that defined area like we were talking about. Also take a look and see, are your competitors, do they own all the billboards? So will you just make more noise? That might not be the place to go. But is it a place where your competitors never go? That might be the exact place to be. So, just kind of thinking through some things like that will kind of help you make those decisions. I'm
glad you brought that. I can't remember who I was talking to. They're in a market where no one really uses billboards, but boy, the digital space is harsh. So they go, you know what? I'm just going to allocate a bunch of money into billboards in the right areas. And by the way, sometimes it's expensive to be in the right area, right? You don't want to take the billboard in a rough part of town where you don't get any business out of. That's another thing I want to bring out. And the last thing I want to say with these traditional media, like the direct mail or the billboards, again, we said it earlier, it makes everything more effective. It makes all your digital more effective because, I saw that mailer from Widget Air. I've seen it. I don't remember reading what I read on it, but I just saw that logo and you see the colors, and I'm like, I remember the name. So then they go online to look for you. So I want people to think about that.
Yeah, that's the thing with direct mail. Just really quickly too is consistency. If you get a house one time, you might as well just toss it out the window. You want it going, 4 or 5 months in a row, so that they're getting that repetition, because there is going to be that 2 to 4% return of people actually calling when you send it out. But the other postcards, if you've done a good job with creative and representing your brand, that's an impression for branding. And so when you start layering that over what you're doing online, what you're doing on billboards, what you're doing on traditional media, that all begins to take up the space in the mind of your potential customers.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that, Chris, because I almost forgot it. A lot of this stuff is a long game, especially when you're talking traditional media, and that's going to circle me back to the TV and the radio. There's a reason why it's expensive. It's expensive to create, sure, but to do it well, it's expensive because you really need to be on there for a certain length of time, right? To let it fester in people's minds. So what's a good rule of thumb? How do you coach people? How long should they give a TV channel or a message before they go, okay, this isn't working?
Yeah. For television and radio, it's typically going to be at least 7 to 9 months, I would say, is going to be your time horizon there. Some competitive markets that can be over a year, but that is why you have to, when, some of the conversations that hurt my heart the most are when I hear people say that they tried radio or they tried television, and what it turns around to be is, we ran an ad for 3 months and spent all of this money and didn't get any return off of it. But that's like putting a 747 on a half a mile runway. It's just not giving it the opportunity to succeed.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Got a few more questions for you, but I think it's good stuff. You got the time. One thing I think people always think about with business and growing, is new customers, and they forget about their existing customers. So what are some key ways that you would recommend marketing to your current customer base, which anyone that really tracks that stuff can tell you they're easier to sell, they're higher tickets, less headaches for your technicians and salespeople. So how do you recommend, targeting your current folks?
Oh, absolutely. You want to go in with a mindset of, when you first acquire that new customer, instead of acquiring a transaction, you want to acquire a relationship. So you've spent $250 to $300 to acquire a new customer. So you want that experience to pull through your call center, to how the technician runs the call, to follow up. Are you tagging the equipment or whatever you just installed? Are you doing a happy call on the other side of it? Because our call center calling out is just as much a part of marketing as our website is. So are you kind of following through to reinforce the great decision that customer made to trust you with their hard-earned money? And so when we do that, to demonstrate that we're not just after a transaction, and one of the key things that so many of our members have been so successful with is club membership. Yep. And I was just talking to a member the other day who has done a fantastic job building a strong club membership base, where it's beyond just giving them discounts and things like that, but it's providing value. It's helping them move from a break fix to a maintenance type customer that extends the life of this huge investment. And 34% of his income comes just from club memberships. Yeah. And it's so cost effective to stay in front of them by dropping a monthly email campaign to them, just educating them more about their system and what you're doing, not constantly pitching them for offers, but just helping them understand better the systems of their home so that they know when to maintain it. They know when they need to call you. And layering on to your email, dropping a postcard to them every month, every 2 months. Because if you drop a postcard to an existing customer every month, we've taken that $250, $300 for acquiring a new customer and gotten it to $7 a year to maintain that new customer, to just stay top of mind and stay in front of them.
It's funny. When we first talked to brand new members that are real small, we talk clubs right away, right? And in all 4 trades, by the way, this isn't just HVAC. All 4 trades can offer.
Right.
We can show you how to do it the right way. But at the same time, this last year where it's been a little more challenging, the big boys, like $50 to $200, $250 million, they all are emphasizing club memberships. Just like you said, make sure it's a great experience. Make sure we put a fence around those folks. So for people that go, well, that's fine, but they are so valuable. So thank you for sharing those insights. Some rapid fire questions for you, Chris, right. and I appreciate all your time. I didn't know we'd go this long, but it's been really enjoyable, and I think people are going to get a lot of value out of it. But I'm going to talk common mistakes, because I know you should probably see a whole lot of them. So what are some common marketing mistakes you see contractors making, and how can they avoid those pitfalls typically?
I call it, the first one that pops to mind is the shiny object, because I say the barrier to entry for calling yourself a marketing person is fairly low, but there's a lot of great salespeople that call themselves marketers that will guarantee to get you to the top of Google, and you'll stay there forever if you just send me $5,000 today. And those aren't real. So don't fall for the shiny objects. And the key way to avoid that is having a plan, having a strategy, and building your stable of partners, and then leaving a little room in the budget to maybe chase a wild hair, but don't let it become your strategy, because that's one of the key mistakes that I see.
No, that's great. Marketing's complex. I mean, we just went over all the different bells and whistles. Of course it's complex, but what's maybe the biggest marketing myth you've seen home service contractors fall victim to, and how can they avoid that one?
I think it goes back to something I said earlier, where it's that there is one thing that is working to get calls right now. And, especially one of the things that we've seen over the last couple of years, COVID made a lot of us lazy. I mean, it's just the word to use. It was easy to throw more money at Google pay-per-click, and it would just deliver more calls. The last year and a half, that just hasn't been the case. And so a lot of people that didn't invest the time in branding, didn't invest in doing a multi-channel strategy, put all their eggs in that basket, only to get caught going, okay, I have no calls. It doesn't matter how much money I put into this. It's not working. So I think that's been one of the key mistakes that I've seen people make. Another key mistake that I see people make is not tracking the booking percentage of the calls that come in.
That's a good
nugget. Literally on a call 2 weeks ago with a company that it's a really hard time, and they were talking about how they're spending this money on pay-per-click and they're just not getting the calls. And when we dug down deeper into the data, they were getting plenty of calls, but they were booking 20%.
Oh.
So this is not a marketing problem. We've got an operational problem to really dig in on and fix there. So I think that, that's one of the key things is we want to always look out here for why isn't Google giving me the call, when sometimes we have to look and see what we're doing with them when they come in.
Yeah. All right. Another quick hitter. What are maybe 2 to 3 things that you'd recommend any contractor could do to improve their marketing immediately?
I would say reviews. You're asking, you've got a process in place with your technicians in the home, with your call center, and have some sort of, whether it's our partner Pulse M or something that is going to make it easy for the customer to get right onto the page and leave you a 5-star review. That's going to generate more Google traffic than pretty much anything else that you can do right now.
Yeah.
And that's one. Another one is slow down for a second and look at your creative.
Yeah.
Is what you're communicating, is it simple to get across to a customer or potential customer that may be walking from the mailbox to the recycle bin? Are you trying to do too much on one page? What is the message that you're getting across with your creative and what you've got there? And then the third would just be stepping back and taking stock of, what do I want marketing to do for me? Right. Because that's going to inform the channels that I use. That's going to inform the creative that I put out. And so I think that knowing what you're trying to accomplish, I think too many times people market because that's what you're supposed to do, but they don't think of the fact that we're trying to do this so that it accomplishes a goal. And if we know what we're trying to accomplish, then we can work backwards from there to create the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great stuff. By the time this hits, I think we're either going to be in or just nearing shoulder season. So that's when, oh my God, people freak out if they're not ready. So what are maybe a couple things, and it doesn't have to necessarily be marketing. You're a coach. You can help them with other stuff. What are some things people, contractors can do to avoid the pitfalls, the drop-offs that happens to so many during our shoulder seasons?
Certainly. Going back to what we've been talking about with clubs, if you've got a club membership, that's your maintenance season comes into your shoulder season. So you're able to get inside the home, or if you're a roofer, on top of the home. Because when you're, as our roofing coach says, when you're on a roof, good things happen. So if you can just get out there with your club membership, that's going to give you calls through your shoulder season. Also, as you're going throughout the summertime, and if you've really followed processes during your busy season where your technicians have been presenting options on every call and going through and showing what are some opportunities that the customer may not have taken on right then, that's your gold mine for the shoulder season. Because, again, going back to our call center as a part of our marketing team, looking at those unsold estimates, looking at the unsold options to have a strategy in place when we're looking out ahead in our shoulder season where our schedule is looking a little thin. We're making those outbound dials and connecting with them. And then, doing things, we've got members that do a "we miss you" report. We haven't been out to a customer's home in 6-9 months or more, that we're reaching out via email or text or phone to just, hey, it's been a while since we've been out. Let's get in. Let's service your HVAC system. Let us do a safety inspection on your panel.
Yeah.
Just kind of reigniting those folks that have not been with us for a while. And I've also seen members that are doing email campaigns that say, we've got technicians in your area this week. We've got 2 spots open. Let's take care of that, and presenting a call to action on that and an offer that makes it easy for the customers to get on your schedule.
Yeah. Love it. Great stuff. Okay. Last question, because I've beaten you up long enough and sucking all this great knowledge out. Any emerging, there's all sorts of stuff now, technology. What emerging marketing trends or technologies should contractors kind of be aware of to stay ahead of the competition? Anything that you're looking at or seeing lately?
There's so much happening in the AI world that is coming down the pike. There's a lot of it that I don't recommend putting into action yet. Let the people with budgets test it out and perfect it first. But definitely there's a lot of opportunity with chatbots and things like that are going to automate a part of the front end of the process to capture leads right when they're at their hottest. There's a lot of opportunity as well in as you're creating content with ChatGPT and some of the other platforms that will do a lot of that creative work. If you're not an automatic writer, if you're not given to creativity, you can get that initial bump out of ChatGPT or something like that gives you a good framework. But don't just leave it at that. Then take that, massage it, make it your voice, and finish it out from there. But the AI aspect can cut off so much of your content creation time to really give you a leg up and kind of a head start on getting things out there. And I think that right now is the next couple of years, we may be having a totally different conversation where Google is not the main player anymore. We're talking about how to make sure that the chatbot is answering with our information. So that's going to be some of the things that we're seeing coming on the horizon.
I definitely agree with you. It's going to be it's wild right now with how everything.
Wild West.
It is. It really is. So, hey, Chris, thank you so very much for your time. This was a lot of fun. We got in a lot of different topics. I think people are going to get a lot of great value out of this. So appreciate your time very much, sir.
Thank you very much. I love being on. Thanks, Bob.
All right. Have a great day, buddy. Take care.
All right. You too.
Staples is the leading provider in office supplies, offering a vast selection of products and services. Over the last 2 years, Staples has also become one of the largest janitorial suppliers in the U.S. as well. From your everyday business essentials to your office furniture, printing, facilities, and break room, Staples can do it all. Staples offers benefits to help create efficiencies in procurement and consolidate vendors to streamline internal processes. Visit staplesadvantage.com to learn more. Support for this podcast comes from Shuby. Keeping your client's floors clean can be a hassle, but it doesn't have to be when you use Shuby's high-quality shoe covers and surface protection products on every job. Our products are specifically designed to showcase your professionalism at a minimal cost per job. Made from strong, durable materials that won't rip or tear, our products ensure maximum protection. We know that your time is valuable, and that's why we make it our mission to provide you with the tools you need to get the job done quickly and efficiently. So why wait? Visit their website at shuby.com or give them a call today and mention coupon code CPPOD10 to receive 10% off your next order. The Successful Contractor Podcast is part of the CertainPath family. CertainPath builds successful home service businesses and has for over 25 years. We do it by providing contractors with a proven path to success, professional coaching, software solutions, and a member community of 1,000 plus strong. Doubling your sales with a 20% net profit and an inspiring company culture is all possible. Let us show you the way. With CertainPath, success is made certain. Visit www.mycertainpath.com or call 888-909-6604 for more information.